MSD podcast file, subject Close Range Unarmed Offensive Assault. This podcast is a result of multiple requests and will outline our close range unarmed offensive assault strategies. Firstly, close range unarmed offensive assault terminology is in reference to predominantly striking skills with palm heel, hand edge, elbow entry, and hard fingers or thumbs, and other specific hand configuration bodily weapon strikes to soft targets. A close-range unarmed offensive assault actions on is made up of entry strikes and finishing skills. By means of entry strikes and skills including distraction, deception, mental and visual focus disruption, compromised stability, decentralization, or wide-ranging foul means, the finishing skills can be employed. Pain and injury is also an important part of entry strikes, as the mind follows pain, and delicate human senses and life support systems targeting can be disruptive and cause pain and panic. Injury, incapacitation, or threat elimination are best means of threat neutralization. Finishing skills can be close-range strikes or long-range stamp kicks. Close-range unarmed offensive assault skills can be executed from a neutral stance with no guard when uncompromised, or from a side stance and guard or front stance and guard when compromised. This podcast file is on actions on close-range unarmed offensive assault combinations, not close-range static enemy takeouts or lethal close-range takeout skills for the battlefield of a seized and secured enemy. The range for the initiation of close-range unarmed offensive assault skills is inside arm's reach between 10 and 20 centimeters from the combatant's lead boot and the enemy's closest lead boot, and as such, close-range unarmed offensive assault strategy must include entry, counter-engagement contingency options if compromised, and assaulted prior to the combatant close-range unarmed offensive assault employment. While the close-range unarmed offensive assault skills may be initiated from a neutral front-on or front stance and guard, the most common employment of close-range unarmed offensive assault actions on entry skills will be employed from a side stance and guard to maximize safety. Formidable foes that are ready, willing, and prepared for a close quarters actions on are hard to incapacitate or eliminate with a single blow, and as such, multiple entry strikes to get the enemy on the back foot and injure, incapacitate, or interfere with their visual and mental focus before executing a swivel maneuver combined with a finishing skill that maximizes transitional side-on to front-on momentum contact impact generation are best means of formidable foe threat neutralization. Entry strikes are executed from a side stance and guard, and finishing skills from a front stance and guard. And it is the transition from side on to front on that provides maintained safety and increases velocity generation through the swivel action from the ground upward and outward to increase impact force contact transfer. That is a best means of threat neutralization. Initiating the close range unarmed offensive assault combination from a side stance and guard makes side on close range sliding footwork fast and efficient, as well as making your body wider and hard to reach around and seize and secure. It also provides increased safety protection for your eyes, throat, chin, sternum, and genitals by only presenting one side flank to the enemy on entry. The entry strikes component of the combination can consist of the same entry strikes or different entry strikes to fit with changes in range and target availability. Vision and airway targeting with short, hard, and sharp entry strikes leave the enemy vulnerable to forceful finishing skills executed by means of the side-on to front-on swivel maneuver. Hard tracking forward by means of as many sliding boots entry strikes as required to set up the swivel transition and finishing skill is the objective. Risk reduction by using palm heel strikes, hand edge entry strikes, elbow entry strikes, and CQC hard fingers and thumbs to soft, sensitive, delicate targets achieves the best entry skills effects. Hand edge strikes utilize hard arm and torso cocking and pivoting boots combined with sliding boots entry in preference to stepping to maintain a ground affinity. The hand edge strikes are extended to approximately right angles only to keep the strikes short and hard and the time between strikes to a minimum. Overextended hand edge strikes increase risks including hyperextension, arm injuries, and slapping type actions over hard, close, short striking actions. The strikes must retract as quickly as they extend. We have several similar close-range unarmed offensive assault hand edge entry strikes and palm heel strikes variations. In an urban actions on, there is a best option for safety and objective achievement of both hand edge entry striking and palm heel finishing strikes. And there is a battlefield actions on variation for both the hand edge entry strikes and palm heel finishing skill. There is no increased risk if the enemy jams the upper arm humerus bone during the cocking of the hand edge or elbow entry strike, as these tie up the enemy's arms and enable uninterrupted stamp kicking counter-actions execution. The targeting is very deliberate and specific in regard to the selected hand configuration, to specific close-range strikes, to bodily targets, including soft, sensitive, and life support targets. Entry strikes can be used to clear an enemy guard or force it into their face prior to executing a swivel maneuver and finishing skill. There are a range of considerations that have gone into striking skills development at Todd Group HQ to reduce potential injuries of the fingers, thumbs, and wrist joint, while maximizing incapacitation and production of injuries to the enemy. This is important for training on soft compression targets and for impact contact with hard human targets. Considerations such as battle dress, body armor, and webbing-related injuries have all been considered in the development phase to provide best of safest and most effective objective achievement options. Clench fist strikes with bare knuckles for the battlefield without sap gloves or brass knuckles increase the risks of hand injuries, including cuts and boxers breaks, rendering a combatant in an operational environment injured and tying up a medic, not to mention reducing their capabilities and the possibility of infections. History didn't always get things right the first time, and through trial, error, and injuries identified in post-actions on reports, changes have been made over time to improve safety and maximize effectiveness. This proves the importance of MIL CQC being a living, evolving tradecraft and not being set in stone. While some of the fully extended fingers and thumb hand configurations of yesteryear were developed for hard, rigid, static contact impact, they did increase injury risks at close quarters as a result of fully extended thumb and fingers injuries through battle dress and webbing entanglement. Many years ago, I can remember working as a bouncer with a good Australian lad that got his thumb dislocated in a tussle through it getting caught up in clothing, and with this, his day job, being a professional boner at the meatworks, was put in jeopardy. This injury was serious and meant being unable to work for considerable time and required a lot of ongoing treatment. The close-range unarmed offensive assault skills must be backed up by full initiation and execution strategies and contingencies to provide effective threat neutralization capabilities when there is a change in threat or situation. These strategies and contingencies are based on same systems commonality, making them cohesive and preventing stalling, hesitation, or major speed loss of fluid combination actions. Combatants trained in same systems, tactics, and skills that are principle-based and provide the capability to make adjustments to deal with situational and specific threat changes, increase confidence in the individual combatant's capabilities under real-life actions on objective achievement. This is achieved by fast mapping assessment at real time on the move and employing deliberate, decided contingency options specific to combating or countering the threat or situational changes. The combining of the combatant's brain to boot, mental toughness enhancement, tactics and skills with their close range unarmed defensive assault actions is most important in increasing the chances of threat neutralization. Hard boot spiking can be included in close range unarmed defensive assault combinations, adding an additional dimension when combined with entry strikes and finishing skills. Overwhelming, confusion, disorientating, and interfering with enemy stability and mental and visual focus means and methods combined with close-range unarmed defensive assault actions on deployments provide multiple levels contact that can put the enemy not only on the back foot but can see them solely focused on self-preservation or survival over combat or counter-actions executions. The enemy may fall for feints thinking they are identifying under threat, for example, head targeting and focusing on dealing with this, and simultaneously find out through lower leg or groin contact or through body line, buttock or shoulder contact, they have multiple real-time problems that may affect sight, respiration, stability, and as such, make them vulnerable through incapacitation, pain, or decentralization, etc. close-range unarmed defensive assault strategies that overwhelm the enemy or lead to them having to try and maintain stability through body line impact or having to wear their assaulter's weight as part of setup and skills execution strategies at point-blank body contact range are important factors in reducing enemy counter-actions through forcing them into a self-preservation, survival, or recovery mode. Maintaining hard cover guarding protection from side and front stance and guards reduces risk and enables cover guarding from head to waist by squat crouching, which enables cover guarding and deflection without having to utilize blocks that through feints and deception can leave bodily quadrants open and exposed to contact. There are no blocks in our CQC system for this good reason and to reduce target mass and deny extended blocking arm seizure. Hard cover guarding and deflection for all upper quadrants threats takes away the decision making as in deciding on specific blocks for specific strikes or punches that in fact could be feints and part of the setup of other strikes, punches, or kicks. All lower quadrant threats like kicks or kneeing at close to body contact range can be combated by a hard boot stamp kick to either the kicking lower leg or the stability lower leg, whichever is closest and most available. All other unarmed skills employments contingency options are factored into close range unarmed offensive assault skills executions to enable effective combat or counteractions to neutralize threat or situational changes at real time. During making range, when stalking into range, contingency options of a static and escape or evasive type are included in the close range unarmed defensive assault actions on employment strategy to increase safety and confidence in skills executions. During close range unarmed defensive assault employments, at minimum one arm will be cover guarding at all times. The importance of full close range unarmed defensive assault strategies that include full contingency options to deal with Murphy's Law oh shit situations cannot be overemphasized as part of a combatant's CQC arsenal. Formidable foes do not usually fall over with a single blow and will do what needs to be done to take you out, and as such, their neutralization usually requires proven, fit-for-purpose, full skills, combinations, strategies, and contingencies options that are cohesive through commonality. Under our training regime of primary, secondary, alternative, and emergency skills options and full contingency options that are drilled in training, exponents can fast map assess on the move, under actions on, and decide and employ contingency options. This enables continued fluid actions, employments, safety to overcome threat and situational changes, and this is most important in dealing with sudden aggressive shock actions, unpredictability of battlefield and urban violence actions on threats, neutralization, objective achievement. Everything must be about proven skills, giving you the best chance of safe, effective threat neutralization by providing the best capabilities.